This video is going to cover installing your end walls. When you get ready to do your end caps, I'm doing one at a time, obviously. Undo the packaging, lay it out so you know what you've got. We've got two real long square tubes. Those are going to be for the center, where if you have a door, a roll-up door, or a storm door, that's going to frame that out. You've got on the 20-foot greenhouse, like we have, 20-foot wide, you're going to have another set of, and they're a little bit shorter. Those are going to go between the outside of the greenhouse and the long door frames. And then you've got your poles. This is what we're going to drive into the ground, and these will slide over that and go up to the top. And then you've got cross bracing. The medium length ones go between the tall door frame and the midsection upright. And then of course you have a shorter one, which is for your 36 inches, which will be for your the top part of your door frame. Next, what you're going to want to do is measure the distance. Should be right about 20 feet between your outside posts. And I've already done that, and I've marked it. I did it by inches. Mine's 121 inches or 120 or 242 inches all the way across. Then from that point, get a tape measure here, you're going to want to measure 18.5 inches out. It's really hard to see my mark. I don't have a white marker, but there's my mark, 18.5 inches. For the that's where one of the posts is going to go. You're going to do that on both directions. Okay, once you get from your center point out 18.5 inches, you're going to make a hole. This really depends on how you did your base. Since we did shade cloth, I'm just going to make a hole here and do the same thing on the other side. That hole is where you're going to end up driving your support posts, which are 18.5 inches from the center of both sides. Okay, these posts are 30 inches long. So the idea here is if it's on a flat surface, you're going to drive 2 feet of that into the ground. So that's 24 inches, which would leave 6 inches for your upright to slide over that. If you're on a level surface, that works great. I'm not on a level surface, so when I get to the other side, I'm going to have to actually leave more sticking out to be able to accommodate the angle that, or the unlevel ground that we're building our greenhouse on. Then we're going to drive our post down to our 6-inch mark or thereabouts, depending on your ground situation. Now you've got your contractor line in place, so that's going to be your guide. Make sure that this goes on the inside of the contractor line. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap because of this is about 16-inch aluminum to compensate for the thickness of the aluminum. Now as you do this, you're going to want to periodically check the level, because you can make adjustments as you drive that stake into the ground to get it level. Just like we did basically with the support stakes for the bows. Just be aware, the further you drive it down, the less ability you're going to have to make adjustments to it. So check it every few taps so you can make an adjustment. Eventually you get to the point where it'll go down without any adjustments at all. Also keep in mind, as you're hammering this, depending on how hard your ground is, you might mushroom this top up, and you'll have to cut it later. It rained 2 days ago here, so it's going in very easily, and I'm tapping softly, which I'm hoping will not cause any mushrooming. Next, you're going to need to get the hardware out, these tension bands, and these are what you're going to secure your uprights to your bow with. I messed up when I did this, and I ended up putting my wiggle wire channel on before I put these tension bands on, so don't do that. Make sure that you do your end walls before you put your wiggle wire up, because now I'm going to have to remove this top part so that I can get these tension bands in there to hold the uprights in place. Okay, the tension band just snaps on into place. Then what I did was I put a level, gotta hold my hammer here, I put a level on it, and I made markings on my bow on both sides of the upright so I knew where level was. So what I'm going to do now is you've got to get this tension band on the inside of this upright. And my upright's upside down. There's a hole in the upright, and that's for your bolt that goes through your tension band. That should be up. So you can do this a couple ways. You can see my tension band holes are here, but my hole in my bar is up there. You can either cut this bar, or you can hammer it in if your soil is soft enough, where your tension bar is, and then you can pull it up like that. And then put your bolt through. Make sure the round part of your bolt is on the outside. We're going to put a tech screw in here to hold that tension strap in place. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my post is level. That way I know I'm going to have the same distance between it on both sides. And I'm just going to pre-drill the tension strap because it's just pretty hard sometimes to get those tech screws through two pieces of metal. I've got a hole drilled through my strap into my bow. There we go. And even then it was kind of hard to get that in there, but drilling a hole through there makes it a lot easier. Okay, next is to put your horizontal support between your next vertical support, which goes halfway between your door and your outside edge of your greenhouse. So I'm going to use the support, the horizontal support is my measuring, and we're just going to put a hole in here where we're going to drive our stake. And same as before, we're going to measure 2 feet or just 6 inches from one end, and that's going to be how far down we're going to drive our support. All right, and just as you did with your center vertical supports, you're going to take your next ones, and it's got the hole. Make sure the hole is at the top. Slide it over the post that you just drove into the ground. And then put your tension strap at the top to hold it in place, just like you did the vertical supports for the door. So for the Quonset greenhouse, kind of ran into an issue here. When you put the tension strap on, it's angled, and it doesn't allow the post or the tension strap to go deep enough into the post to put the bolt through. If you put it on the outside, like this, then it puts your vertical post too far on the inside of your bow. You kind of want it to be centered. So I'm going to have to probably cut an angle off of this bottom piece right here of the strap, of the tension strap, just to get it to fall enough to be able to get the bolt through there. What I had to do is I had to grind off a little bit of an angle so that the tip of this would go far enough down. into the upright. Then I had to cut a notch out of the upright because it still wouldn't go in order to get the bolt through. But I did get it, and you can see there it's nice and level. We're going to leave that loose right now, though. We're not going to tighten any of this up. I'm not going to put the tap screw through here until we put our horizontal piece across. The next thing to do is we're going to put the horizontal support into place. You're going to want to leave the tension strap up top loose. I'm going to mount my corner bracket onto my horizontal piece first, and then lift it up there and screw it into place. You're supposed to go up 60 inches, so I've got a 60-inch mark. And because I'm doing this by myself, I'm going to do this a little bit different than some people may do it. I'm going to hold this up here to my 60-inch mark. And I'm going to just mark the holes. And I'm just going to pre-drill those to make it easier to get my tech screws in, so I don't have to try to hold everything up and drill at the same time. Now I can hold it up into place and get a screw in there. Which will hold it for me, so I can mark the other side and get it mounted as well. I'm not going to pre-drill this side. I'm just going to hold this up until it's level. And then I'm just going to use a self-tapping screw to get it secured. Yeah, watch your fingers. I pinched myself in there. So there's my horizontal support. As you can see, it is level. Now, next step is to do the exact same thing to the other side. Once you're done, you're going to want to screw these bolts in, of course. Now, don't be afraid when you saw that it was kind of sticking out on the back, because once you tighten it, it pretty much flattens out on the back side, so that you won't have to worry about your plastic getting cut. So we're still not done. Even though we got the majority of the end cap framed, we still have to put in the last piece, the cross member that goes here. Now, this depends on the door. If you're going to put a storm door like we are, you're going to install this piece after you put the door on. So that's just something to be aware of. Because this is the back of the greenhouse, and I'm not going to have a door back here. I'm just going to go ahead and mount it. I'm going to mount it, though, about 80 inches up, because a storm door is 80 inches tall, and that'll get me kind of in the zone if I ever want to put a door in the back, to have a door in the front and back for the header. So that's the process of installing an end wall without a door, and that's basically how it should look when you're done. We still have to put on the baseboard at the end wall and the wiggle wire channel, but it's going to be 110 here today, so we'll continue this video tomorrow. For the end walls, we still have to put the baseboard down. I've done a lot of it, but I saved this one last piece to show you. Because I use 10-foot boards, and you have to cut these boards because they have to fit on the inside of all of your uprights. I had to do I had to make a piece to go in between there. But all you do is you put your angle brackets on the ends. We do that to both sides of the board. Get the other one on there. Okay, and then once you've pre-drilled, okay, once you're done, this is kind of how it should look, coming along here. And then now we can put the wiggle rod channel on.